Thanks for welcoming me to the workshop. This is my first time at HICSS. I usually, my friend Jim Spohr from IBM Research normally came to HICSS, and so I came, he didn't. It's a little bit of a change. So I'm David Ng. I was appointed at OCAD University in May of this year, and so I'm doing more of a research function. Stephen Davies is an adjunct instructor at OCAD University, and he's the one that's actually teaching the course. So we have research that's actually in the course. My history is that, and the reason for the orientation is that I was president of the International Society for the System Sciences, which is a system thinking organization. So if you're in system thinking, general systems theory, cybernetics, that's the foundation we come from. The second is that I was 28 years at IBM, management consulting, market development work, and worked with IBM Research quite a lot. So the reason for the long title is actually, and this is a Redux, because there's only 6 slides. The history of this course is an Understanding Systems course that's been running at OCAD University since 2009. And Peter Jones had led that course. And I only have 6 slides, so it won't be long on this. Peter Jones had led that course since 2009. He actually asked me to work on the course in 2009, but I was working at IBM. And so Peter's now moved from OCAD University to Tec Monterrey in Mexico. And so there's this gap, and it's like, well, I actually wrote the course at Aalto University in Finland. I also taught the courses at University of Toronto. So, Stephen, you have this new course. Would you like me to help you with the course? And he said, yes. And when I said, well, okay, so this is fall of last year, and I said, we have the opportunity. With all the stuff happening in AI, we can ignore it or we can embrace it. Which one do you want to do? And he says, we're going to embrace it. So we actually have an experiment. This research paper came out in October. And so this is the history of the last winter. And so the situation we're at right now, and the reason this paper is Redux, is that this course is now being offered again starting next Tuesday. So there is a rewrite of the course that I've been working on, and there's actually, now this is where research and actual teaching the class get separated, is that I wrote what I called a pro forma for the course, and Stephen has to actually teach the course. And then it's like, oh, this is way too much content. Yeah, I know, Stephen, you're the one teaching the course, I am not teaching the course, and probably what I'm doing, because I'm more used to teaching at doctoral level than master's level, probably what you'll do is you'll go through it and say, no, we can't do that in that amount of time. So this paper talks about the learning we had from last year. Good. So to give you an idea about the program, since 2009 we've had this course called Understanding Systems. It is half a credit in a 9-credit Master of Design program in Strategic Foresight and Innovation. So there's 3 parts to it. There's systems thinking, which is the emphasis for the Understanding Systems course. There is design thinking. And then because they're designers, there's a lot of focus on the visual thinking and the artifacts that come out of it. So the systemic design is a field that's come since 2009. And a lot of it's been related to relating system thinking and design symposiums. Design thinking has gone from 1.0 to 4.0. Design 4.2 gets into designing communities for much more social systems. The first RSD symposium was done in Oslo in 2012. There was a systemic design book that came out of RSD4 in Banff. In 2018, they incorporated it as a Systemic Design Association. There are gigamaps and synthesis maps that are drawings because people can't understand what it is that you're trying to design. So a lot of the focus has been on synthesis maps and gigamaps. Also, in parallel, the Design Council of the UK has a framework for innovation, and they have a systemic design toolkit. So, in January 2025, the Understanding Systems course transitioned to Stephen and me as a research advisor. And so the way that we decided to do this, since I'm from IBM originally, and I was used to IBM Global Services method, was we wanted to focus on the artifacts. What is it that students actually create when they come out of class? And the problem we've had with a lot of system theory is a lot of history associated with it, and the textbooks often are oriented toward giving the history and the theory. It's like, no, we want you to draw. This is a design school, a design program. We want you to draw what the systems are. So weeks 2 to 5, we had the content, halfway through the course, you get into synthesis mapping, critical system practice, system changes, language action and research. So there's a lot of stuff around social systems design in this course. We didn't have room to actually put in effect, ecological system design, which is something we corrected this year. We actually had the graduate students learning as peers. So this was an inverted classroom. The students did the presentation because there's more content than they could possibly cover. And the purpose with general AI was and the encouragement was, use it as an experiment, not as a requirement. ChatGPT, Copilot is actually licensed by the university. LeChat, Claude, NotebookLM, Perplexity, we covered all of them very, very briefly in the class. Here's the response from the class. Let's go right here. AI was mostly welcome, keeping up with the times by embracing AI, using AI to summarize readings really good before the whole text. It's a great tool, especially for non-English speaking students. This is a prize that we didn't actually expect. We had Chinese speakers in this class. What they would do is take master's level journal articles and they would throw them in the AI and then read them in Chinese. Because if you're only getting 90% of the content to start off with, then the translation error is going to be less than your understanding error. So we might as well have the machine do the translation. We do have some people, I use Gen AI reluctantly, didn't change my attitude. Don't rely on it to do the work for you. This is learning by doing, right? So they actually did learn and tried it out. So what we've done is we've resequenced the course, opened it up, and I take some fault for doing the AI. I have a lecture I'm working on, which will be 2 weeks from today, which will be trying to cover the different content. Essentially, and this is the last slide, the question is, in winter 2026, will master design students accept computational thinking? So now we're getting to vibe coding. Now, the difference is that we are not writing code, computer code. We're talking about writing SVG or writing Mermaid because we want diagrams, but diagrams are code, right? So the idea of computational thinking on top of this, I have sequenced some, the lecture I'm giving in 2 weeks will be show and tell lectures, because talking about this stuff doesn't work. You have to have a screen up, show them how they work. I'm going to talk about researching with a RAG versus GPT, which is actually a closed system versus open system, if you have the theory. Inquiry systems, functional analysis, object process methodology, vibe coding, and this will start getting into the SVG and the augmented intelligence. And so that is what I'll be doing in 2 weeks. Thanks.
Thank you. Questions for David?
So what are the level of students that
This is master's level students.
what are the prereqs that they have, that we think they have before the date?
So they admit across. So this is a case where it's they used to say the master design is the new MBA. So you are admitting students like you admit MBA students. So the number of design students having history in design is probably less than 20% in the master's class right now. Used to be about 30%, 40%.
Do you have like a specific kind of recurring kind of model for how you integrate like work to update like with industry tools or technologies? Is there like a timeline that's on, or is it just as needed?
Well, that's part of the discussion I'm having right now because, and this is where I need to have more discussion with the deans of the school, is I'm ahead of them because what's happened is that the standard they have licensed at the university is Microsoft 365. That does not include Microsoft Notebook. And so it's like, well, you can go now and get a Notebook LM, Google, for free that does more than you can get from what you get from the university. And so as a student, you can decide whether you want to do that or not do that. You can decide you don't want to use AI at all. It's up to you. But to me, this is an opportunity, and what I tell the students is no one's going to fail this class, right? You're at a master's level. You're going to do good work. And so assuming that you're not going to fail this class, you can take it as an opportunity for learning. So try out the AI engine, try out different ones, and part of the dynamic will be because there's teamwork, people are going to be negotiating across the teams. I like this tool, I like Google. Oh no, I prefer ChatGPT. Which one do you want to use?
Great, thank you.
Thank you very much. Everybody, we have a break.